for it. Hello, we're here. Oh man. It's been crazy lately. Normally we have these live streams on Sunday, and then one of us was slacking, and so we had to move it to Thursday. So if you're here, welcome to our Thursday live stream.
Silence my phone right off the bat before we get any Fox Sports Monday Night Football stuff. Okay,
it should be Thursday Night Football.
Yeah. I'd probably be
Prime.
getting some updates. That's right.
But anyway, we are here to talk about our book club book for the last month, which is
November.
Yep, thank you.
Mhm.
All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr.
Doerr. I don't know.
I did not look up how to pronounce it.
I didn't either.
So,
I didn't look up any pronunciations for a lot of these names. So
no, we're just gonna go with it. We're gonna rely on my
down,
German
yeah.
heritage to just
yeah,
get
there we
it
go.
right on the first try.
There we go.
But yeah, so this is my book club book choice.
Your pick.
It was my pick.
It's your pick.
It was one of the top books on the New York Times review.
Pulitzer Prize winner. The sticker is there and everything.
And so with that said, so
another well-hyped book.
Yep, as all of our other ones have been. And again, I'm gonna say I'm an outlier for this one because I didn't hate the book. I probably would give it 3 stars, but there was some things that I just couldn't get through. It was interesting, I think, to read about the war outside of a concentration camp. Because I'm really interested in the Holocaust, and I've read a whole bunch of books about that, and Anne Frank, all of that. So that is where my knowledge of World War II comes from. So it was really fun to see it outside of that setting. Yeah, just kind of see how normal people were dealing with everything. It was kind of shocking to me how the war really affected everyone so much.
There was, more people that were oppressed in more occupations than just the Jewish people, not to diminish that by any means, of course, but there was other places and other things and other people who were not as badly oppressed, of course, but still.
Yeah, which that definitely surprised me. I didn't quite realize how deep that went.
Well, yeah, that whole occupation of France was a thing.
Well, like I said, all I know is the Holocaust.
Yeah,
so.
Well, it's definitely, and as it should be, the most covered, the most, the thing that gets the most attention, and as it should be. But there are other stories, which reminds me, I looked up the meaning of the title. Okay. What did you think the title meant?
I honestly didn't even take a minute to think about
it.
No.
Okay, so
I know there was a part in the book that kind of played with it a little bit.
Yeah. So I thought the title meant basically, first of all, because Marie was blind. Mm-hmm. So, and that Werner was kind of blind to what was going on.
Yeah.
For a lot of different reasons, very valid reasons, but still he was brainwashed and blind. But according to Mr. Anthony Doerr, that is not. Well, I mean, it could be. I mean, he says he is whatever you want it to mean, really. But
one of those.
He said that it had to do with the radio waves because, that's light that you cannot see, and the radio being such a huge part of the book. And then he also talked about that it was a story about ordinary people, and that there's like you said, we know a lot about, but that there are so many everyday lives and everyday stories that went on the war that we don't see, that aren't seen. And so that's where the title came from. So I was kind of, that's kind of neat.
That's pretty.
So talking about the ordinary people, it just
kind
of cool.
cool.
Anyway,
but
Anyway, your pick. You go ahead.
Yo,
you give it the go this time.
Oh, dear.
I'm like thinking
Oh,
I need
dear.
to not open my mouth this time.
No, you can still.
No rant will be forthcoming this time. I promise.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
I do, because I did not hate this book at all. I'm not going with the whole it was Pulitzer Prize worthy and I'm just like changed because I read it, but it's a solid 4 for me. I thought it was I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, you go though. You go.
There was like, there's so many things.
Pick one. Go.
Pick one. Okay. It was too long. Okay, how about that? It was too long. There was like a part in kind of like the middle of the book where, just like with Cersei, it was, we're reading the same thing over and over again. It's just like boring, repetitive, everyday kind of a thing, and nothing was happening. And I just was like, this book is 500 pages when really it should be 300. Like we could have cut out a lot right here, and I didn't appreciate the length.
Yeah, I can see that. It could have moved a little faster.
Yeah,
sure could have.
It sure could have. I also didn't like how it jumped back and forth so much. Like it started out in like the present, and then it went back to like the past to kind of like explain like why things in the present are happening. Like, I don't know. I didn't like that. I didn't. Yeah.
Look, I remember this book so well.
Because it started out in like maybe it started when they were younger, and then it jumped to like 1944 when the war's happening.
So yeah. Because it started off like with the end of the occupation, the bombing, and then it went back. I got you. Okay.
Like
I got you. Yeah,
I think it just would have been better to have done like a natural progression, like start from the beginning and then work up to the bombings and stuff. Like, I think it would have made it more.
See, I'm going to disagree with that.
Okay.
I'm going to disagree with that because I think the way he jumped and the subject matter that he, like when he had a scene in the present, the bombing present, when he would jump back, it would like the experiences of Warner and Marie would like expand on the scene in the present. So I kind of liked that. I liked that setup.
I didn't hate it. I didn't think that it was confusing. Like, I think he did a good job at like making sure you realize, like, hey, this is not 1944. This is 1941, or like whatever.
Well, and he labeled the chapters too.
Yes,
so, with the actual dates,
which I very much appreciated because your girl over here gets lost real easy, you know. So
yeah, they were labeled.
Yeah, they were labeled.
You knew when you were.
Yep. Every author, please do that if you're going to be jumping around at all. But yeah, so the other thing that I have to, you mentioned Warner and Marie, obviously like the two of the main characters, two of many main characters.
Well, they were the main.
They were, but there was so many other characters in this book. There was. And I don't think that it was necessary, again, to have so many characters.
Well, who would you have cut out?
I honestly would have cut out everything revolving around the diamond. The Sea of Flames.
Really? But that was the whole thing about how are you going to get the big bad guy in the house during the bombing?
Why did there need to be a big bad guy in the like? I don't know. They could have been looking for radios.
Had to have a reason.
He could have been there for the radio.
True. That's true.
I mean, I just felt like,
I don't know. It was real though because they did. It was because they did go and like empty museums and stockpile.
Yeah, but
that kind of stuff. I mean, it did happen. And her dad worked in the museum. Of course, he was gonna have something. Yeah, but to smuggle out.
I don't know. I feel like this was supposed to be like a historical fiction novel, and
Yeah.
you're mixing in fantasy elements as well with this magical diamond that's supposed to like keep whoever
Yeah.
has it from never dying, and
But
it just
they
like
didn't though. That was just a story around the diamonds.
yeah, but it
It's
just
not like it was actually like somebody held it and was instantly healed of.
yeah, but I
It's just yeah, I saw a review that complained about the same thing. So you're not alone. But I'm just like, except there weren't any actual fantasy elements in it. It was a story about a diamond, which a lot of famous gemstones have legends around them.
true.
So it's not, but I think that it gave, and it is not, um, it's not or unusual or unpractical, whatever. It happened that the Nazis very much believed in that stuff.
Right.
Hitler, especially. I mean, he very much believed in
Mhm.
the occult and the paranormal. So it was a little sideline.
Then maybe make it bigger, like a bigger part of the story.
Okay, I did have a problem with that.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
it's supposed to be like this big thing, and you had like maybe like 2 pages of
But it's
stuff on the
also the reason
diamonds.
that her dad was arrested.
Yeah, but
It's
it's
the
like
reason that they got him out of the book. I mean, it led into it's like little fingers in everything now.
I guess I don't know. I just
But
I
you're right,
want
it could have all tied into the radio pretty easily, but I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. But it really could have.
it could have.
I expected much more out of that, to be honest. I expected much more out of the showdown at the house. That really
Out of
was
the entire book.
was
I
like
didn't feel
nothing.
like there was a lot of action.
No, there was not. Absolutely not. It's
It was
very much of a character study. There's
very,
not a lot of action in it at all.
which I think maybe is part of my problem too. I don't know if I'm like
You
super.
don't like those kind of books.
I don't know if I do. I just.
I well, my complaint about Cersei was a character study that was too long. The character study itself was not bad. It was just too long.
Mhm.
And I always point to Piranesi, which is over here somewhere, which is like, just over 200 pages as a character study. And it really is practically nothing more than that. And it's so good. But this, I don't know. I think it was because there was two of them that you were really studying that it didn't make it seem
Yeah.
quite that long for me. But I did much more prefer Warner's
Oh, for
part
sure.
than Marie's. Marie's part was kind of boring. Like really
But,
boring.
but I mean, at the same
Really
time, they're
boring.
like, what are you gonna do for her?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was, as part of the resistance and, the radio thing and
There
stuff, but
wasn't that much to it.
there wasn't. And maybe it's just that there could have been more. But it was just that she was just, and I don't know if it was intentional that, Werner seemed to be like this kid that was just so struggling. Like he was brainwashed, obviously, like so many,
Not
because he went into
as
that school when he was
badly
what,
though. 12.
14, 12, 14, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
So yeah, because they pulled him out when he was 16. Um, so impressionable. And, they were fed so much propaganda and they knew nothing else. And, they've got these adults and authority figures that are like for God and country, and that is like all Of course they were brainwashed.
Yeah.
But he struggled because his sister Yuta did not buy into it because she listened to the radio so much.
Right.
Um,
The foreign radios, because
the foreign
the
radio.
German radio was the one that was spewing out
Yeah,
all
they
the
had a
propaganda
bootleg
and stuff.
radio.
Yeah.
Um,
Which the one station with the children's choir where they were singing about how like
yeah.
what was it?
Yeah,
Something about
I'm
how
like,
we will
really?
fight for. It's like the kids were singing,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Is it what?"
Well, and all of their little chants at the school. I mean, these kids are babies.
Yeah.
And they are literally I mean, at that age when that's all you hear, and of course you're going to demonize the Jews, and of course you're going to think that you deserve to rule the world, and of course
Yeah.
you're gonna think that the
Most
Führer is saying, and especially because they showed that Warner lived in that orphanage,
mhm.
and how, you know, how tight it was, how they had no money, how, they didn't have shoes, they didn't have clothes, they didn't. The one time he said he came home from doing an odd job and his supper was a potato. Excuse me.
I mean, I'm not gonna complain about potato.
Well, me either, but if that's all you have every day, that's your meal is a potato.
Still might not
And
be
they
my
didn't say anything about butter, let me tell you.
Oh.
But anyway, and then all of a sudden the Führer is elected and takes over, and the economy comes back from the brink for the country. And it says in there somewhere, as things were getting better, they were starting to have meat every day. So you can see where people were bought into this
Mhm.
guy because he was making things better. And so, yeah, I mean, obviously the top guys were just crazy as fudge, but yeah, they were nuts, obviously, but your everyday average people. I always think about too. There was the news story after the liberation of, I think it was Auschwitz, and the American army went to the towns that were nearby, and they forced the villagers to come and look at Auschwitz, and that this is the thing they were turning a blind eye to. They forced them to see it, and there's part of me that says, yeah, they were
Well,
not, they were, but at the same time, it's not like now. It's not like now where we can jump on the internet and see 30 different viewpoints at our fingertips. All they had was government sponsored news. That's it.
mhm.
And you don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm a German sympathizer or something, but I doubt they went regularly to those camps.
No. Oh, everyone was scared.
Yeah.
It didn't matter
Yeah.
what race you were, everyone was scared.
Well, yeah, when they were
And so
teaching these boys to inform on each other and that
yeah,
was a good thing.
yeah, so it's like, why would
I mean,
you put
loyalty,
yourself and your family at risk by going to these places
right?
like that? Like,
Well, yeah. And
I wouldn't wanna go near a concentration camp, they'll throw me in there, like,
and
you
they
don't
did.
know.
It's not, again, it's not like today where we can hop in a car and just drive wherever we want to go either. I mean, in that day, something could have been happening in Marion. It's 10 miles south of my house. I wouldn't have known what was going on there.
Right.
It's anyway, I guess I don't think we often think that how brainwashed these people were and how easily it can happen. And
Oh, look at the country now, even with the
yeah,
internet so much.
yeah,
So,
exactly. Um, when that's all they had, that's all they knew was what they were being fed in the news. And it's not like the most of them were watching. I mean, sure, in the cities, yeah, I'm sure. Obviously,
mhm,
people were seeing what was happening to the Jews and things like that. Um,
but still, it was like
there again, they were being freaking brainwashed that this was the scourge of their country, and they had been in some serious hard times. So I don't know. Anyway, I just thought it was kind of interesting, I guess, but I don't know where I was going with any of this. I'm just rambling again. But anyway, Warner, I think he was made out to be this kind of dichotomy of the German. He was not a good person by any means, but yet you can see where he was made into what he was.
Mhm.
and that he still had a conscience. He still tried to do the right thing in the end. Um, versus Marie, who was set up to be like this bright, shining, ideal, do no wrong angel. The good, the light. um, and that's boring.
You heard it here, folks. Being good is boring.
Well, in a book, it is. She did click this was not appropriate for kids. So if you're all adults, we all know good is boring. Don't we? I won't say anything else.
No comment.
But it's boring in fiction when you have a character that does no wrong and always does the right thing, always does the good thing, is just sweet as pie, sweet as those canned peaches they loved so much. What do you do with that? I mean, she was what, 10 when they left Paris? Something like that?
Yeah.
Blind. And didn't even like whine or cry or give her dad a hard time when they're marching across France to get to the coast.
I mean, she did say that her feet hurt, but it wasn't.
Yeah, because they were
no tantrums.
Breaking over with blisters. I mean, I don't know. It's boring. It is. And I think it's a little bit interesting that she was blind. So that added some interest there. But
I honestly think it would have been so much better if he would have leaned more into the resistance part of it for her.
Yeah.
Because he touched on that for like a little bit there, kind of like towards the end of the book about her part in the resistance.
Mm-hmm.
But if he had drawn that out for longer, it would have been so much better.
Yeah.
Because then it would have been like, okay, this is the reason why we are actually reading her story.
Or made it a little more tense. I mean, could have had her and Warner meet more than just the one time.
That was what I literally wrote this. I was so disappointed by this romance. So
well, it wasn't really a romance.
They literally said in the book that he fell in love with her.
Well, yes, but it's not like they had a romance.
No, but it still counts.
Okay. Well, how could you not? Because she's so perfect and beautiful and the light.
But she was. That was another thing in the book, is that he was just like, she's beautiful, ugly. And I'm like, that is one of the worst compliments that I've ever heard someone say.
I didn't get why.
Just because she's blind?
Or was it the freckles? Or was it?
He said something about her eyes. He was just like, her eyes were like milky.
That's true. And didn't move, of course, because she obviously doesn't look at anything, so that eyes don't track.
And so he's like, she's beautiful, ugly. And I'm like,
well, there's that.
No, my guy, no. And I just never say that to a woman.
No,
never.
Thank you.
No. And
the podcast I'm watching right now, she always says, listening to, is no thank you, sir.
For real, though.
No, thank you, sir.
No, thank you, sir. But, I was so mad. So, like, honestly, I went into this book. I didn't read anything. Like, I didn't read the back cover. I didn't read a summary. Like, nothing. I kind of tried to go in as blind as I could. I kind of just knew, like, a simple what it could potentially be about. I went into it thinking that this was going to be some grand romance where we have this German Nazi soldier who fell in love with some girl in the resistance, and it was gonna be this whole thing of like Romeo and Juliet, like worlds colliding and like this grand thing, and one of them's gonna have to decide or something. I don't know. Like I just thought it was gonna be so much in the book, and then I read it and it's like 2 pages. Like, okay, he sees her, they meet for a second, he saves her life, and then bye, Warner, and then he steps on a mine and dies, and she goes off and doesn't have a happy.
It's just like, why didn't he just hide? I mean, the hotel collapsed. I'm sorry, I keep wanting to cuss, but the hotel collapsed. He could have easily just been assumed dead. And okay, so seriously, stepping on a mine, and I get the whole, his weird ass death was like symbolic of the futility of war, whatever. But seriously, what was wrong with him? I mean, it didn't say. Did he just never get over that bout of sickness he had when they were in Russia?
I guess I don't know. Like,
I
it
mean, 'cause
literally just said that he had a fever.
yeah,
And
he
then
got sick.
he got sick, he had a
I
fever,
didn't
he couldn't keep
understand.
anything down, and then he
Yeah.
accidentally stepped on a landmine
They
that was
ate
put
yeah,
there by his own people.
yeah. Well, when they mined the fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I
that was it. He
just
disappeared into
yeah.
the earth, is what they pretty much said. A
Well, he
cloud
was
of earth, because
probably, like, vapor
well, not vaporized, but I
but you know what
guarantee
I
he was
mean.
multiple pieces at that point. There was no more Warner. There was multiple Warners.
Yeah, there's lots of yeah.
I,
But it was like he was delusional and he was so, he was hallucinating. And so he just wandered out of the hospital and wandered into this field.
I
But
hated it.
it didn't it didn't like I I didn't know why. I mean, it talked about like he just started throwing up and couldn't keep any food down. And the last thing that he was able to keep down was the can of peaches that he and Marie shared.
Mhm.
I don't know if that was supposed to be symbolic of something. I don't know. But I was like, because he had been sick with whatever it was in Russia, but he had never been feverish or hallucinating.
No.
So it almost sounded like it was something different. But
Well,
then,
oh, well, they actually said that maybe the water from that paint can or whatever
oh, yeah, maybe made him sick.
made him sick.
I don't know. I think that would have happened because they were like trapped down there for like 5 days,
Yeah. Well, it
4
wasn't
days,
until
5
the end
days.
that he drank from it, right?
Yeah, but still, you'd think if it's going to poison you.
I feel like it would have happened soon.
I don't know. Anyway, I just felt that was a little lame the way. I mean, I get him having a senseless death because, hey, war. But
But he wasn't just like a throwaway character like that.
I
Like,
know.
it would have made sense, like, if it was
Frank.
if
What was
Frank
his name?
Frederick?
Volk.
Oh, Volkheimer?
Volkheimer. His name was
Volkheimer.
Frank.
Yeah. Although I liked him.
I did too.
I liked him.
I liked him very much.
Kind of like the friendly giant in a way, but okay, maybe not
The
so friendly,
psychotic
but-
friendly giant.
Well, I like him crazy.
But war. People do nasty things in war, and if you think for a minute that the Americans and the British didn't do nasty things, I'm sure. Again, I'm not a sympathizer with communists or Hitler or anything like that, but I'm just saying. I think, though, too, making some of the Germans likable was the point as
Yeah.
well. That, again, these are just people who were brainwashed, essentially. I mean,
Mhm.
that's all you can say about it. They
Yeah.
were brainwashed.
I feel like Warner was kind of supposed to be like an anti-hero kind of a thing.
Yeah,
For
definitely.
sure.
Definitely. But yeah, that whole thing when they were stuck in the basement and Frank Volkheimer stopped moving, I thought he was dead. I just saw he was dead. That
Yeah.
he sat in that chair and died.
Hmm.
And then it talked about there was those statue heads, those busts that were on the shelf, and one of the times they had a light on, he thought they were looking at them, and then he was hallucinating that they were talking to him and told him that if he moved, they were going to kill him. But I mean, yeah, they were stuck in that basement, complete darkness, probably sniffing paint fumes.
Yeah. And God knows what else.
I mean, yeah. I thought that was really well done, actually, the kind of
Mhm.
psychotic things that can
Yeah.
go on in your head when you're stuck in the dark. I thought that was
Yeah. I thought
really
well
well done.
the whole basement scenes in the book were really well done.
Mhm.
I thought those were some of the better ones,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. I really liked that.
Yeah.
And I liked the parts leading up to when in the house when what's his name? I can't even remember his name.
crazy
Von
one?
Von what?
Von Rimple
Rimple?
or Rumple.
When he actually went into the house and she was hiding in the attic. I just wish it had been a little more because
it was too easy.
well, she
I'm
never
sorry, it was
did
too
any. I mean, nothing happened other than Warner killed him. But
But I mean, like, at the same time, I feel like if something had happened, it would have been put in there for like actionable purposes. Like
Well-
like in a movie, they're just like in horror movies the person trips and falls, and in real life you're probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
in
true.
real life, I'm not going to be moving or doing anything either if I'm hiding from someone who's there to kill me.
True, but I guess I expected. I mean, 5 days. She hid in that attic for 5 days. I mean, and he was in the room right next door. She never peed. He never smelled.
Well,
I'm sorry.
He had his own problems.
Well, he did. He had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's true. And that's another reason I think that it's believable that he believed in the diamond. Because not only did he have that whole kind of Nazi obsession with the occult stuff, but he was obviously, those tumors, he talked about him in his neck. So I'm assuming it probably was impairing his thoughts.
Maybe just a smidge.
And so I could see, desperation. That's where I was just like, he just stayed in that house for 5 days and searched it. Why wasn't he like tearing stuff apart and
right? Because he pretty much came into the house and he just laid in bed.
Yeah, pretty much.
He literally
searched it. There was one time that she talked about, like on the 4th day or something, that he did start going through and just tearing things apart. But he knew it was the model of the house. But did he demolish the house model? No. I don't know.
But it wouldn't have made a difference because didn't Marie take?
Well, she had it, yes. But he knew it was in the model.
Yeah.
He knew that was the whole purpose of the model. Again, I expected more because especially right there at the end where she decided, screw this, and started playing music. And, that's when Warner came in. But I don't know. I expected something. After all of that buildup, I expected something more.
Yeah. And it was really easy for Warner to just come in there and kill him, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he literally just pretty much just...
I mean, granted, he was half dead anyway, but...
But still.
I know.
There should have been a fight.
Right? Yes.
Like, if this guy is that desperate to find this diamond and live, you think he's literally just gonna lay and just give up?
Yeah.
Like, no, like, even if he is, like, high out of his mind on whatever drugs he mixed together, because he said something about, like, morphine and this, like, mixed together doesn't work. I don't know. But still, you would think that he would fight for his life in some way.
Well, it was totally off screen. Didn't he, like, trip or something? He tripped, his attention got off of Warner, and Warner dove for his rifle. And that's the end. And then it flicks over to Marie, who hears a shot. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And it's like, well, that was anticlimactic. Yeah. I mean, half the book has built up. Half the scenes were dealing with the bombing, and a good half of those were of them trapped in their various traps, prisons.
It was all leading up to the moment when Marie and Warner were going to meet.
Exactly.
The entire book, that's what it was about, was for them to meet.
And it wasn't very dramatic.
No.
It just wasn't very dramatic because he kills whatever. Uh-huh. And it's all off page. There's no struggle. There's nothing like Warner kills him and then is like, oh my God, what did I just do? And, nothing like that. And I believe that was the first time that Warner killed anybody.
I think so.
So you'd think that would be like a tipping point for him?
Yeah, that he might be like a little bit upset, like, oh my God, what did I just do or whatever.
Yeah, because he had led his team, because his whole job was to find bootleg radio transmissions.
The terrorists.
The terrorists. So he indirectly caused all of these deaths, and he saw death.
Which also included a 7-year-old girl and her mother.
Yeah. And that one really did affect him.
That one did.
A lot.
Yeah, understandably so.
So you would think that him actually, but he never killed anybody himself.
No, but him pulling the trigger finally.
You'd think that would have an impact.
Especially on someone who's supposed to be on his side.
Right.
Like, this is a sergeant major, someone above him in ranks.
Way high.
Yeah, he's just a private. So he's
Mhm.
this guy is way above him in the ranks, and he just killed him.
Mhm.
And it's someone who he's really supposed to respect and supposed to I don't know. Like there's this
You think it would have an impact.
you would think.
You think it would have an impact.
Cuz I mean, did he know him personally?
No, never met him.
No. Well, there was something about how they did meet though. Wasn't
I don't think they ever, not Warner and that guy.
there? Maybe
Now, well, that he saw him because the day that all three of them were in the same place, and Warner is watching Marie walk by, and he notices Von Rempel, was that his name?
on Rumble.
Rempel. He notices him sitting on a park bench reading a newspaper,
Yeah. Mhm.
and he lowers his paper and he looks at Warner, and then he raises his paper again. And see, that's where
That's what he was talking about because I remember him saying something about like, "Oh, you with the newspaper or something."
Yeah. And that's why Von Rempel thought that Warner was following Marie because Warner wanted the diamond too.
Mhm.
And so that's why in that scene Von Rempel was antagonistic towards. He thought Warner was his enemy too because he was there for the diamond.
Yeah,
So a little paranoid.
just a little bit.
But yeah, but no, they'd never actually met.
Hmm.
And of course, the only way he knew Marie was from when she was transmitting on the radio.
Mhm.
He's here. He's going to kill me.
I don't know.
Well, and that was because I was like thinking, why did that suddenly? But he knew because of the being her Etienne making those radio transmissions were the ones that Warner heard when he was younger.
Not Etienne. It would have been.
Well, but he was the
His
one
dad.
doing the recordings.
I thought it was her
Her grandpa. Her grandpa was the voice, but he was dead. And
Oh.
Etienne was the one that was playing the recordings that they made and broadcasting them.
Gotcha. That part I
So
didn't understand.
that's when they sent Warner to that town,
Brittany.
that place.
St. Malo.
St. Malo, thank you.
That one. I knew it was one of them.
You know, that place. That's when he discovered what it was he heard that radio transmission that he'd heard when he was a child.
Mhm.
And he knew, and that's why he couldn't tell.
Talk about a coincidence.
So when he was hearing, she would play that recording and then talk afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew she was in that house and he knew who she was. And that's what decided him, I guess, to get him to help her because she was connected to the professor. I guess.
I don't know.
And for some reason, Frank went along with it. And I wasn't quite sure about that one. Why?
No, I don't
Except
know.
that Frank really, really was fond of Warner.
Yeah.
Really. So.
Yeah, Frank was kind of like a big brother.
Big brother, yeah. Warner was he really took care of Warner.
Mm. But I don't know.
Should have taken care of Frederick too.
Yeah, poor Frederick.
Poor Frederick.
Gosh. That was
right?
so sad. Like he did nothing wrong.
He was just
He was too good.
He was too good.
He was too good.
Well, and he was more of a
he was able to think for himself.
He was a gentle person and he was a more creative, artistic soul in a time when that was not acceptable to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, it was all about strength and, physical strength, being able to fight.
Yeah.
All that. So, yeah. Poor Frederick.
Macho stuff.
Poor Frederick. Did you get the end when the owl came in?
No.
I didn't either.
I was so confused and I'm like, maybe this is gonna he's gonna spark a memory or something, and he's gonna be like remembering things, or something's gonna get better. But no, it's just like
It was something with the owl. I don't understand why
no,
the owl, of all things,
I don't.
got a response out of him when the paper from the book from Warner didn't do anything.
That I felt like that should have been the moment where something happened,
Right? And it didn't.
and I don't.
I don't
I don't know if I
understand
missed
that one.
something earlier in the book when he was talking to Werner
Yeah,
about
I don't
the
know.
birds, and he mentioned something about an owl, or
I never
what?
got
But
an owl.
I
I don't know.
I don't know.
I didn't
That
get
part
that
was
one.
confusing, and I thought that it was also a terrible ending to Frederick's story. And
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
That was this entire book. I feel
Well,
like.
and I was a little disappointed that when Frederick was beaten so bad that he was disabled for life, brain injury, that was not some kind of turning point for Werner.
Right.
And that Werner could not see that the stupid professor that he had him come work for him at night when he was in the school.
Mm-hmm.
Now I could see when he was growing up and such, but that he couldn't tell he was being used. But you know that guy took complete credit for
100%.
everything Werner did.
100%.
I mean, Werner was running circles around him. And then all of a sudden he gets to go to Berlin and Werner gets sent to Russia.
Yeah.
And even then, I think they were trying to get rid of him. Werner, because he was only 16. And here they come and say, well, he lied. He lied about his age. Yeah, I think that doctor was trying to get rid of him.
Why would they get rid of him, though, if he was their best person?
But why stick him in Russia if he was their best person? If they knew how smart he was and how much he had developed all that stuff, would he have been in Russia?
Wasn't that
where he was going to get killed?
Wasn't that the next place that they were trying to take, though? Or was
but they put him on the front lines. They put this great big brain that developed all this stuff on the front line. I don't think they
not
would
on the front line.
Yeah, he was.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I know.
There was all the fun because they were talking about
no, there was the scene where they came in and they're just like, we need two people to go to the front and fight, and they took the
that's when they were
Neiman
in France.
1 and Neiman 2 or whatever.
That's when they were in France.
Yeah.
That's when the Americans were liberating France. But when they were in Russia, that was their whole job, was to track down those transmissions, because the bombings that were going on and the strikes that
was the front lines, though.
Well, but they kept getting shot at.
Everyone's gonna get shot at. There's a war going on.
I mean, I'm not saying they were in the battles, but they were definitely out. They were out in the thick of it. They weren't in the battles, but still, they were out there.
There's a difference.
And they're going to get a fair chance of getting killed.
Everyone has a fair chance of getting killed if you're working for the opposition.
Well, but it would have been a much lesser chance if he had been in a safe little office in Berlin somewhere.
True, but
just saying. I think that doctor took complete credit for everything and then was like, send him on out there.
I don't think so. I think that I don't know.
Why did they say, though, that he lied about his age? When he was only 16, they said, nope, you're 18. Get out of here.
So that they could use him in the war. Because he couldn't go until he was 18. To leave school.
I think it was a little more sinister than that. I think that teacher, professor, doctor, whatever he was skeevy. I mean, he was absolutely skeevy.
He was, for sure.
When Werner asked to go home, and he basically said, I've been too nice to you, because he gave him chocolate. I've been too nice to you. No more special privileges. It's a privilege that you were able to come work with me. Like, bullshit. Werner just made your whole career. Yeah, he was skeevy. Whatever. That whole school was skeevy.
It was
It was
literally just
Nazi.
a school
It
to
was.
brainwash
It
little boys
was.
into being Nazis.
It was
So
a
yeah,
Nazi school.
it
so
was a
yeah,
little
it was.
skeevy.
It was skeevy.
Ugh, yeah,
God, yeah, it's just amazing. Lord of the Flies, man, in a castle in Germany. Dang,
pretty much. Yeah, it was insane.
it was. And the thing is, it's just so believable, though.
Well,
I mean, I
I
never
don't.
once thought, "Oh, come on, that didn't happen." Never once.
Oh no.
It was completely believable. Human nature, man, sucks. Anyway,
Yeah.
anyway,
Hmm.
I like the old ladies, the old lady spy group.
Yeah, that was really fun. It's like the people you wouldn't exactly expect in the resistance, and
Yeah.
then here they are just baking bread,
housekeepers and bakers,
and
and
they're all gossiping around with
that
their.
was funny. Their little meetings in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh, I freaking loved it. That was
That
really
was
fun.
great. But I kind of expected more out of that too, like you said earlier. Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
A little more
like,
tension there, a little
I felt
more danger.
something.
There's
It
really
was
no danger
no,
involved
it was
in that.
all so chill. And there
Yeah.
was never any
Yeah.
point like when they're baking the bread and with the numbers and things in it where it was just like, oh gosh, I'm gonna get caught.
Yeah, no.
Like there was never a point where a Nazi soldier came into the bakery and happened to overhear this and was just like, I'll
Nope.
take an ordinary or like whatever.
An ordinary loaf.
Yeah. I felt like there needed to be something there to happen because it's like they're making it look like it was so easy to be a part of the resistance and so easy to go
Yeah.
against the propaganda and the
Yeah.
Nazis and all of this and like, we're risking our lives, but are you really? Because nothing's happening.
Well, see, that's what I thought, because I knew that Madame, whatever her name was, I can't.
Manic.
Thank you. I can't be in names, man. I knew she was gonna die,
Yeah.
but I thought
It was gonna be
I thought it was gonna be
taken out by the Nazis
because they got caught.
Yes.
But no, she just died died of sickness,
Yeah.
which I mean was fair.
There was a
in-
lot of that going around.
In that in any
sure.
occupied
of
place, it was not
influenza and stuff.
pretty.
Yeah.
So I mean, fair enough, but dude, nobody got caught.
Nobody. Not once.
Except her dad. But he didn't
But
really get caught doing anything.
No, he literally was just trying to go back to the museum.
Well, because he'd been summoned, which was
Yeah.
obviously some kind of. Well, it was because he got turned in because somebody saw him making sketches of the town to build
Yeah.
the model.
For Marie.
But nobody questioned him about it. He just got this. I was expecting that somebody would come question them, and that would put them on the radar, and they'd be all worried about the radio.
Yeah, no, because like even
No.
there was never really a point where they were like super worried about the radio. Like there was like a little bit because there was a thing where
No.
everybody had to turn in their radios,
Mhm.
and that was the one that they didn't turn in because no one else knew about it except Marie
Right.
and
Marie was the only one that knew
Etienne.
about. Yeah.
And
Well, Etienne, but
yeah.
he was like comatose.
he was like
Yeah,
he got sick too.
he was in a PTSD coma.
But after that initial one where they're just like, oh, that could be an issue, then it was just like it never was.
It
There was
never.
There was never a moment where they're just like so worried about
Never.
something, and like they were still transmitting. They
Yeah.
were using the radio, and it supposedly had this antenna that like stuck up out of the roof and like out the chimney
Well, it was
or whatever.
retractable.
Yeah, but
That was
still.
why you thought somebody would see that, right?
You would think that you would see
Somebody-
some like if
Somebody was going to see that.
if they were actually trying to occupy this town and really try to make sure that no one could have any type of outside information, they wanted to push their propaganda that hard, you would think that they would have someone watching every single house
Mm-hmm.
all the time or like whatever. It's like and with
Yeah.
and with
I
no.
But it wasn't the point of the story, so it was just
I
kind
don't
of
know what-
glossed over. But yeah, I mean,
A lot of things were glossed over in
there
this
were
book.
points where tension could have been introduced,
There was
and
no tension.
it just didn't.
There was I don't I do not remember a single moment in this book where there was, like, tension where it's like, "Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen?"
Mhm.
I don't recall.
Yeah.
And I feel
No.
like that is the unrealistic part of the book, because I don't think that there was ever like, everybody should have always been tense and anxious and worried and scared, and I never got that feeling.
No. No.
Never.
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, that was what was missing from this book. If this book
I
had that,
was.
it would have been a 4 star.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with everything else, but I wanted to feel something, and it didn't make me feel anything.
Mhm.
Like, it literally was just like I was kind of like semi reading a history book, like someone just kind of telling me like, "Hey, this kind of happened here and there," and like
This is
these,
what happened.
yeah. I wanted a story, not a historical fiction
Mm.
textbook. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, just
Fair enough.
I don't know if I have any other
Anything else?
notes. I don't know. No, Werner's death was bad.
It was
Um,
bad, but it was meant to be
Mhm.
bad. So
Also, unnecessary scenes with the Russians coming in and the girls.
oh
That
yeah,
didn't need to
that
be in there.
didn't. Yeah, I don't think that whole like full circle here. That kind of when Berlin was being occupied, I don't think any of that was necessary. I don't think knowing what happened to Yuta and the girls, I don't think any of that was important. I think they could have cut that and
Not saying that what happened wasn't
well, no,
important.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
obviously, like,
No.
that whole situation.
Yeah, it's just it didn't. I don't think it added anything to the story. I don't. Yeah,
No,
I don't think.
I felt it was unnecessary. I felt like it was added in there just to be like, "Hey, the Russians were bad too." Or,
Yeah,
like,
I don't
something. Like, it was,
know.
again, like, another kind of a thing to
I
try and
don't
get you to
know.
sympathize with the Germans
Well,
a little
and
bit, but
the whole for the majority of the book, Yuta was in the beginning, and that was pretty much it.
yeah, like, here and
And
there
so
was,
why bring her back? Now I can see at the very, very end.
yeah, when she was getting Warner stuff.
But, after when after all of the events, there's like this chapter that just says, "And here's what happened to you.
Mhm.
At this time they did this, and then they were sent to Berlin and they did this." And it was like this like his yeah.
Yeah.
And it
It
made no
just
sense
no, and, like,
why
I
it was
under
even included.
it shouldn't have been. Like, I know that that stuff happened
Yeah.
during the war,
Yeah.
but it was so out of place
Mhm. It
because
was.
these were characters that we hadn't really, like you said, we hadn't seen them for the majority of the book.
No.
So, honestly, like, when that happened, I literally read it and was just like, "Okay," and I didn't care.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no,
I
me
mean,
either.
that sucks that that happened to you, but I really don't care that that happened.
What's
Like,
the
like,
point here?
it's just like,
It could very much just have cut to present day
it should have just cut to present day,
and
because that's also,
told
like, a
that.
trigger warning that did not need to be in there. Like,
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
it's an event that did not need to be in there, unless, like, that's not something they just throw into a book or just throw
Well,
in there to
why?
throw in there.
Yeah, it wasn't there was
Like,
no
there should be a reason behind why this is happening.
it's just yeah. I mean, I get the whole focusing on some ordinary lives, but at some point you have to focus on this and tell a story about this. You can't just start throwing the kitchen sink in there
Yeah, that's how the whole
and
book
I
was,
just don't
though.
think there was any point in revisiting Yuta and what was her name? Frau
Frau
Elena at that point in time.
Yeah,
There just
there wasn't.
there wasn't. Maybe if there had been alternate chapters with Yuta also,
Yeah.
sure. Then you talk about how she survived the war.
Or, like, honestly, it would have been kind of interesting to have seen her be a part of a resistance too. With
Yeah.
her bootleg radio and all of that. Like,
Yeah.
she clearly was against.
Yeah, she was a sympathizer for sure.
Yeah.
Non-Nazi sympathizer.
Non-Nazis.
I don't know if I call her a sympathizer. She didn't think some things were right, but she wasn't in the book enough to know.
No, I
She just wasn't. So, yeah. Now, if there had been if she had been in the book throughout, then sure, I could see including that last scene. But yeah, as it was, there
Yes.
was just no point.
No.
There just wasn't any point. So I don't know. I did like the very end though, or I think it was like in the 1970 something, when Yuta went to see Marie. That was cool.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool.
Yeah, I like that part.
I did too. That was a neat scene. And when Frank went to visit Yuta, that was pretty neat.
Mhm.
I enjoyed
Yeah,
that.
that was a good section.
Yeah, the end, I liked it. I did like it.
Mhm.
There's another book that we read that trailed off that way that I was like, there was just no point to that. Which one was it?
Um, this is
My
really
Best
serious.
Friend's Exorcism.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
know, where the last few chapters just kind of revisited and said, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. And then there was a chapter that she went and visited Brother Lemon. And I was like, why? This is not entertaining.
Yeah.
This, I don't get it. But this, I think, provided some resolution because there was so much that just, well, and of course, war. That was the whole point. This is the way that it happened. Not everything was tied up in a neat little bow. But there was so much of that. Like Warner's death was pointless. Her dad, who they never heard from again, he just completely disappeared.
Yeah.
Well, that was,
They
again,
never found out what happened to him.
war, pointless.
What is it good for?
Yeah.
Absolutely
Um, but it was nice to have, I think it needed that little bit of resolution
Yeah,
at the end.
I do agree. Like those last couple of chapters where it was like in the 70s and then 2014, like all of that at the end, that was good.
Yes.
I like that. It did
Yes.
wrap everything up.
Well, it just gave you a little resolution.
Yeah.
To see how the people that did survive, and then showed some interconnection with them. Now, it might have been neat for Frank and Marie to meet as well, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it just, after so much chaos and so much, like I said, non-resolution things, it was nice to have that little bit of people connecting.
Yeah.
Afterwards. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. Let me see what else my little notes
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I don't take notes.
Yeah, no, Kelly's
tried.
just got it all up here. And
Well, yeah, because you take notes and then it like triggers my memory.
I'm doing the work for both of us.
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't know.
I've tried to take notes before.
One of my main notes there is that I just felt like the author needed to centralize his focus more. Like there were too many topics, too many themes, too many characters, too many things just happening, and we just needed him to focus more on one thing, which we kind of talked about already. So there you go. Brainwashing Hitler Youth. Middle of the book is boring. I feel like we kind of covered everything.
I still give it a 4 though.
And I still give it a 3.
Man, I was like sucked in. I really was sucked in.
I'm glad one of us was.
It's like I said, especially the chapters with Warner. I was absolutely fascinated by that. It really was.
Yeah. Like I don't know if this is weird to say or what, but World War II is one of my favorite wars. Just
if you're gonna have a favorite war.
I mean, yeah.
But she has a favorite serial killer too, so
That's also true.
I think it's okay to say there's a favorite.
Yeah. I find it very interesting, for sure. And I did very much enjoy getting able to see more of it, a different side of it. And Warner's chapters were definitely my favorite as well.
I think eye-opening. I mean, in your head, it's these people had to have been brainwashed. Nobody does the things that they did without it. But yet to see it in action, I think he did a really good job of showing how these people were drawn into this.
It's a great book of warning.
Cautionary tale.
Cautionary tale. You know, if you ever see the U.S. government doing anything in this book, maybe
Well,
don't listen. I mean,
did you not?
it's
I mean, I'm not going to say overtly because that's, one of the things I terrible roll my eyes out. Both sides of our political parties definitely like to compare the other side to Nazis for any particular given reason.
Mhm.
But I'm not going to say there wasn't a couple of things in the book that I went, oh.
That is true. That is true.
Just saying. Just saying.
History repeats itself. Just
It
throwing
does.
that in there.
It does, because we ignore it. But anyway.
Yeah.
Like I said, I very much enjoyed it. There was parts that did drag, but on the whole, the chapters are very short.
I appreciated that so much.
And so, and
if the book's gonna be over 500 pages, you better give me short chapters so that I feel like I'm actually accomplishing something.
And they were very short, and so I really felt like that moved things along quickly. And he did do a pretty good job of cutting the chapters at points where you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So it made you want to keep reading to get back to it. So I think it was really well done. I can see how it won the Pulitzer. I can.
She has changed her mind. You started this live stream saying that I don't think it's a Pulitzer.
Did I?
Yes, you did.
Well, okay. And so let me clarify. I can see why it won the Pulitzer. I wouldn't call it.
Okay.
I personally, my taste, I didn't think it was so absolutely wonderful that I'm like, of course it won a Pulitzer.
I feel like
but
a
I can
Pulitzer Prize needs to be a
see
5-star, like an easy 5-star.
Yeah, but not everybody's going to have a 5-star. No book is going to be a 5-star for everybody.
No.
So I can see, given the subject matter, given the way it was presented, given the way it was written, given the topics that it tackled, I can see why it won a Pulitzer. And it's very well written.
See how it could have been done better.
Well, of course. But, nothing's perfect.
No.
But I can see why it won. For me, it's not necessarily a winner, but I can objectively see why it did.
I agree. I understand why. I would not.
It wouldn't have been my pick.
It wouldn't have been my pick. It's not going to be one of my favorite books of the year.
Yeah. But then the Goodreads Choice Awards didn't go my way either. So there you go. I don't know what you people were voting for, but it wasn't the right stuff.
And we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
In another video, you'll see. Yeah. I don't know. This
one of the worst books I read this year was on the Goodreads list. Worst book ever. That one right there. The one I'm using for a computer prop stand right now. Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that on the list.
I know.
I was like, oh, okay, I'll read this now. I'm like,
I know.
Maybe not.
I'm so looking forward to it. And it was so bad. And I can't believe. Okay, never mind. It's not the story about this book. It's The Maid, by the way, by Nita Prost. Because I hate it when people talk about that and then don't say what it is. That's really annoying. So it's The Maid by Nita Prost. I really did not like that book.
We'll be reading that for book club next year.
You can see a review on my Instagram if you're really curious about why I didn't like it.
At Katie Reads on Instagram. K-A-D-Y.
D-Y.
Reads.
Go
give her a follow.
Okay, there's my plug. Yeah. That I have not updated in like over a month. I'm so sorry. I have so many books to review at this point. Anyway, off topic.
Per usual.
Usual.
It's whatever. But yeah. I don't know. Like this book has been on my TBR for a long time. I've had it on my shelf for a long time. I was very excited to read it. I don't say I regret reading it because I did enjoy it. I did enjoy parts of it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't great. Will I read it again? Probably not.
I don't think so.
Had there been, like I said, like more like tense parts and more action, then maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like if
well, I think
if it would have been a faster pace.
I didn't care enough.
No, I really no.
I did not care enough about Marie or Warner.
Like, honestly, so didn't like the way Warner died,
Mhm.
but when it happened, I didn't care
I
at all.
didn't cry about
The
it.
only character that I actually was sad about, like, what had happened to them was Frederick.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the only one that I was just like, "Oh my god, poor Frederick." And all of the rest of them, I really couldn't care if they lived or died.
No. No.
And I feel like if you're gonna do, like, a character-driven story like this, that you should you should care about the
Oh,
characters.
that's the whole point.
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
So, I feel like the ball was dropped a little bit on
Yeah.
that one too, but
I
don't know.
didn't either. I
It
didn't. And it's not that it was badly written.
It
just
wasn't.
for
Like,
me it was really missing something to
yeah, like,
for
he's
me
a
to
great writer.
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah,
did
yeah.
an amazing job, like, painting the scene and putting you in that place.
Mhm.
He did great with it, and he was very easy to read.
Mhm. Yeah.
It flowed really
Yes.
well,
Yeah.
but
I know,
I
and
needed
that's why I
more.
was like, I don't know what it is because, I could just like I think that the relationship between Marie and her dad was well done. You could see
Mhm.
it, but I didn't feel it.
Yeah. It was missing
I
that
felt the
emotion.
connection between her and Etienne more than I
Yes.
felt it
Oh.
between her and her dad.
100%, and I don't wanna
But even then,
It's
I
kind of
wasn't
weird.
like when he didn't come home. He said, "I'll be gone an hour," and he didn't come home. I didn't like. I didn't like. Oh, okay.
It's like, "Oh my gosh, that's so terrible." I was just
So
like,
I don't know.
"Alright."
I don't know, but anyway, yeah, I just didn't feel
No,
enough.
it wasn't the amazing book that I was expecting it to be.
Mhm.
Like, I honestly, out of all the books that we had picked for book club this year, this and My Best Friend's Exorcism are my 2 ones I was looking forward to the most, and they both let me down. So, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if he had got me to cry when Werner died,
That's
it
what
would
should
have
have happened.
It would have been a 5-star book.
Oh, 100%. That is what should
Absolutely.
have happened. No,
Yeah.
with him
Yeah.
being such a main character in this book,
We spent so much time with
so
him.
much time with him, and we learned his backstory and him growing up. We saw him from when he was a child up until when he was a Nazi soldier,
Yeah.
and we should have. And
We
like,
should have felt it.
yeah, because the book was also like trying to get us to sympathize with him.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Yes.
Like
absolutely.
we were just like, he's a Nazi, but he's also like he's
But
got a
here's why.
conscience. Like
This
he's
is what happened. to
yeah,
him.
like don't judge him just based on
Yeah.
the swastika. You know,
He had
like,
reasons.
yeah, and it's like
But I didn't feel
I
anything.
didn't care.
When
Even
yeah,
when they got trapped in the rubble, when the hotel
Yeah, I was
collapsed,
like,
like I
"Damn, that
honestly
sucks."
is just like that sucks for you. And then Byrne died,
Yeah,
and then
it's just
Volkheimer or whatever. Like
I
honestly,
thought he died.
I thought he
That made me
That one-
sad.
that
actually.
one also, yeah. Oddly enough,
Oh no, Frank's dead.
him and Frederick were the 2 that I honestly kind of cared about, and they were like 2 lesser characters of the book.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And that's not that's
Probably not
much
the way
of
it should have been. But yeah, if he got me to cry when Werner died, it would have been a 5-star book.
Yeah.
Because obviously there would have been a reason.
Yeah, I expected
Okay.
this book to make me cry.
Me too.
I did. Like 100% went into it thinking this is going to be a heart-wrenching tale,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It wasn't at all.
No.
So,
For me anyway.
but
There you go.
yeah. There's our talk. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
Nope, I don't have anything else.
Okay. I mean, I would hope not after an hour of talking about this book.
Yeah, again.
You know, I've just come to accept that we're gonna be at least an hour.
We're just gonna ramble and rant.
Yeah.
But
So.
yeah. In the end, I'm still liked it. Much as I complained and picked it apart, I still liked it.
It was meh.
I'm not sure I would want to read it again, but I did like it. So
I think this was the first book that we actually semi-disagreed on.
it is.
Ho, ho, ho.
It is.
You got to see the claws coming out a little bit of this book. Yeah. But anyway, all right. Our next book.
So we should be reading. What we should be reading right now.
What we should
What we should be reading right now is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig.
I'm excited for this one too.
Yeah, I'm full.
It was a Goodreads Choice Award winner for last year.
Well, there you go. That just ruined it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was on my because I was gonna do like a whole series of reading the 2021 Goodreads Choice Award winners, and I haven't done it yet. So
That just ruined it for me because I didn't like any of the picks that made it through this year. I thought that was stupid.
the
This is what we're gonna read.
2021 picks were solid. Because the only good Indians was on that list. I think.
Yeah, I've got that book to read too.
Yeah.
I hope it's good.
I hear it's amazing. But then again, I also heard all of these have been amazing. So
I haven't quite agreed with them yet.
I don't know. I don't know. We shall see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. I mean, I've come to realize I don't mind a literary book now and then, but I've really figured that it's got to have some teeth to it for me to really want to spend too much time with a literary book.
Oh, it's short. So.
Well, I don't think this one is. I think this one's more genre, but this one was definitely literary. So, and it was okay. It was good. It was good. It
was math. Let's be honest.
I think I just don't want to think so much.
And that was the other thing is I wasn't thinking while reading this book.
Yeah.
I literally was just mindlessly reading the words.
And that's where
it felt like I listened to part of it on audiobook, and literally the whole time I'm just like, it's the same. I'm hearing the same thing. Like it's literally just like this could put me to bed. Like
see, and I think that there's probably a whole lot of symbolism and metaphors in here for anybody that wants to pick it apart. But I don't want to spend that kind of time on a book. I'm sorry.
No,
I read for entertainment.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry.
I don't do deep dives into the backs.
I don't either.
Like the behind the scenes meanings of everything. Like,
I really don't either. But I did enjoy the book. I'm not gonna. I probably sound like I didn't, but I did. Anyway.
Okay.
This is what we're supposed to be reading right now in December. We've got. It's the 15th. Still got half a month. People, read it with us, and we will be back in January to discuss The Midnight Library.
Yes. Yeah. So there you go. And you can go, like I said earlier, you can go follow Kelly at Katie Reads on Instagram, and you can follow me at The Everyday Adventurers. Well, I can't remember my own tag. The underscore Everyday Adventurers. Because I apparently have a stutter. But yeah, there'll be a link down in the description so that you can go find them that way as well.
There you go.
Yeah,
I will go update my Instagram.
Yeah, you should now.
I will.
But
kind of said that after our last video too that I hadn't.
You know, life's been crazy.
It has been.
Crazy.
We had COVID in the house again, and
that was another reason we pushed it back. I'm gonna blame Kelly partially for that.
Yeah, I had COVID, so yeah. Anyway, fun stuff. We're fun. It's all good.
But anyway,
okay.
All right, that's all I got. Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us for tea time. I hope you enjoyed our discussion. Let us know in the comments if you've read this book before, what you thought of it. What was your rating? Do you agree, disagree with us? Whose side are you on? Are you Kelly with a 4 or 5?
We're like 1 star apart.
I'm just excited to finally have something where we don't agree.
Well, I think it was Evelyn Hugo. You gave a 4 and I gave a 3, and we still
true.
Agreed on it. We still agreed on the points. He just liked it a little better.
You know.
Anyway, yeah. That's all right.
I will forever support Taylor Jenkins Reid. Okay. I'm a stan.
You go right ahead.
I'm a stan.
I think I'm done. Well, maybe not. I had one that I liked and one that I didn't like, so maybe I should do what Books and Lala does and do a third chance.
There you go.
Author, which I have to do with Grady Hendrix too now.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Which I liked.
Southern.
Really hated one book. Well, I shouldn't say really hated. I did not like it. The second book I liked better, but I do still have another book. So I guess I'll have to give it a third go and see. But
was Final Girls one that you've read Final Girls?
Mm-hmm.
And that was one you liked better?
I liked it better.
Liked it better. Still didn't love it though.
Didn't love it.
That's unfortunate.
But liked it better.
That's unfortunate. That was like a 4-star read for
That
me.
was one of your spooky recs.
It
so
sure
I had
was.
to do it, and
It
I
sure
did.
was.
It was. I'm not going to go into that book. I
You
will eventually review it on my Instagram. Eventually, I only have like 10 books.
No.
Book reviews to
Only
put
10
up.
books. Maybe you should read so many books, Kelly.
I should slow down.
You should.
Mm.
Take a page out of my book. Read one book a month.
Yeah, well,
I'm trying to get better about that. Reading more.
there you go.
Anyway. Okay.
Okay, we're rambling at this point.
This
So,
is unrelated information.
but keep an eye out because we are going to sign off here and then film another video.
Yeah, which will be coming out December 22nd? Question mark. It's a Thursday. It's the day after the official beginning of winter.
Well, a week from today
yeah,
would be the 22nd.
See, this is why I got her here. She's the brains of the operation.
Simple math.
I might not be blonde anymore, but it still comes through. So
it's Thursday today, so a week from today. So
yes.
we're gonna do that. So stay tuned for that. We've got winter recommendations.
Yes,
coming up for you.
Woo woo. Okay, this is really crazy. So
get excited.
Yeah. The hysteria is sitting in.
Yeah, we're gonna have to go get a snack or something.
I think so.
Old learn. So anyway.
All right. Well, we will see you guys in the next one in January. Midnight Library, right here.
It's hard to see with all the blue.
It is.
This one right here.
All right. We'll see you guys in January. Bye.
Bye.